We're always gonna be friends.
Yeah? Yeah. Yeah.
Go on.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Cinemaniac Central. My name is Chris, and Happy New Year. We're just a couple of hours away from 2024. And what better way to kick off the new year with what I think is the definitive New Year's horror slasher, and that is Terror Train. So with Terror Train, Terror Train was one of 5 horror films that Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis starred in the 4-year time span from 1978 to 1981. Of course, 78 was the masterpiece that is John Carpenter's Halloween. And then 1980, she had Prom Night, she had The Fog, and this movie. And of course, in 81, she followed up the original Halloween with Halloween 2. But with Terror Train, we begin with a fraternity who play a prank on this socially awkward guy named Kenny, who they lead to believe is going to lose his virginity. So he gets to the bed and discovers instead of a girl, which is reluctantly gets involved with, is Aena, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Instead of her being in the bed, it's a dead corpse, and he's pretty much freaking out over it, and he pretty much messes up his head, and he winds up in a hospital. So we fast forward to 3 years later, and this same fraternity is boarding a train on New Year's Eve for a New Year's Eve celebration. And among them is also Aena and a big group of their friends. Unbeknownst to them, there's also a killer who also boards and begins to pick them all off one by one. Starting off with the positives. Jamie Lee Curtis, she's really good in this movie. I think she's better in this movie than she is in Prom Night, to be honest with you. I think I think her character is utilized in this movie a lot more. I like her in The Fog. I like The Fog is actually a really enjoyable movie. I love it. But I think I like this movie better over the other two, and just the 3 that she did in 1980. And but she'll always be the definitive Scream Queen for the original Halloween. I love Halloween. It's my favorite horror film of all time. But she's very good in this movie. Also, I thought Ben Johnson, who plays the conductor, I thought he was really good as well. He has this kind of no-nonsense attitude. He doesn't stay in the train car. He actually kind of watches over all the kids and makes sure everybody's okay. But obviously he can't watch over everybody and figure out what's going on. But when he first discovers a dead body, that's when he becomes concerned, and he tries to get everybody to safety. And I like it. I really like his performance. The kills in here are pretty decent. But part of that is going to lead into my negatives, which I will get to in a minute. David Copperfield is also in this as a magician as himself, and he's very good as well. The masks that the killer wears, that's also part of my negatives. But there's a Groucho Marx mask, which is the first one that he wears. I love that mask. I wish it was used all throughout the movie. It's actually really creepy, and the way they shoot him and everything, and the cinematography and the way they play the music along with that really gives it that creep factor. And but yeah, it's for the most part all the way up there, it's a pretty entertaining movie. You have your unlikable characters always, and that's where I'm going to start with my negatives. My negatives, on the negative side of things, the biggest standout as far as unlockable characters for me is Harbot's character of Doc. He is your typical douchebag asshole who's always disrespecting people. He's always trying to get everybody set up for. Of course, he's the one that set up this whole prank in the first place, and he hates magic. Copperfield, he's doing these different illusions in front of him, and he's always doubting him how he says magic is like third grade stuff, it's kid stuff and everything. He thinks he can do better, but he can't. He can't do shit. But Copperfield's easily, one up at him. There's a neat little trick with a quarter and a cigarette that he's able to put past the cigarette right through the quarter. That's pretty damn cool. And then he has like a bunch of cards laying out on the floor, and then he puts like a piece of cloth on top of them, and then one of the cards has Doc's name on it, and so he just throws a knife down, and whatever card that the knife is stuck to that has a name on it, and yep, that's the one. So it's a pretty clever trick. But yeah, Harbot's character, he's that typical asshole, which you've seen him in Die Hard. He has that kind of asshole. Thinks he can get out of anything, thinks he can do anything, but he winds up paying for it in both movies. But yeah, he's a coward. Whenever Aena's character, Jim Lee Curtis, tries to get him to help his friends, he won't. He just cowers on into a locked car. But unfortunately, that becomes his undoing, where he winds up getting killed. And but yeah, he's one of the most unlikable characters. The kills, back to the kills, a lot of them are off screen, so they kind of cut away every time someone's about to get it. But later on, you kind of see the aftermath, the gore, so that's actually kind of cool. And then as far as the masks go, they change masks a lot throughout the film. A couple times they go from the Groucho Marx mask, which I wish they would have kept, to this lizard costume, which you don't really lizard costume, and then like this monk kind of costume, and then they had this plastic mask where he wears like the brakeman, which that's very, very brief, that's actually kind of creepy too. But one other thing about this movie is that it ends very abruptly. There's like in the climax, whenever the killer, which it's revealed, and that's another thing. It's predictable. We know who the killer is. It's Kenny. It's this. He was this. Prank was played on him, so we know he's going to be the killer. Kenny confronts Aena, because she was involved in this prank, but even though she didn't really want to do it, but nevertheless she was in it. And there's like this. Whenever her hands are like all bloody and everything, and he sees it, and he just starts freaking out and everything. He's like, ah, much like it cuts away to 3 years earlier during the prank, whenever he freaks out there too, and he gets like all caught up in the bed curtains or whatever, and then he's freaking out or whatever he starts freaking out and everything, and the conductor comes in there with a shovel and hits him twice. And knocks him right out of the car, and he falls to his death into the river. Well, at least we assume that he's dead. He lands in that little river, icy river or whatever, and he's just floating along. And he's floating along, and the train goes by, and then that's it. Roll credits. So it ends too abruptly. It's like we don't see what happens afterwards with Aena and the kids and the conductor and everything. Do they get back home safely or what? So that's kind of it ends kind of weird, but overall, this is a fun New Year's Eve slasher. I really dig this movie. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis's character was better in this movie versus like Prom Night or even The Fog. Creepy Groucho Marx mask. Jamie Lee Curtis is great. Ben Johnson is great as well. But yeah, if you haven't seen Terror Train, it's a great New Year's Eve horror film. If you want to check it out, it's the best one for them holiday horror slashers. So, but yeah, Terror Train, definitely a fun one to check out. But that's my review for Terror Train. I love you guys. You guys are the best. Happy New Year. Hope you guys are safe. Party safely. Be careful. I love you guys. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, comment down below, tell me what your New Year's Eve plans are, what you plan on doing. I love you guys are the best, and I will see you next time.